Hi everyone! So, this week I said that we'd be talking about meal prep. So, the first thing that we need to talk about is how you're going to do this meal prep. So, I'm going to show you one of the things that I use to make it easier. We should have got this out beforehand. Okay, so let's get going. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to just pop them on to the video. I can see them as well, just turn this down. I can see them on the post, so if you do have any questions at all, then feel free to just pop them up. So, meal prep today, we're going to look at it from a beginner's point of view, how you can do it at home and what's going to make it easy, whether it's suitable for you, because there's some people that will find that meal prep's just not for them. And that's totally okay, but for those that is okay for, let's have a look. So, the first thing we need to look at is what to put the food in. Hashtag portion control. There's going to be a lot of hashtags going on today, just because this is what I tend to find is the general questions, and it can either help, or these are the sort of stigmas that are attached to certain things that we're going to discuss. So, what to put your food in. The reason why it's got portion control is, this is what I use, okay, so one of these boxes like this. Now the great thing about it is, they're not that big. You can get them from places like Costco, Macro, any sort of wholesalers will have them, and you can buy them. I think I got like 100 boxes for like, I'm sure it was 100 or 200 boxes for like £10, okay? And the good thing is that you can use them, they do go in the dishwasher as well, or you can wash them out. You tend to find after 3 or 4 washes, maybe not so much in the dishwasher, but they are reusable. Also, the reason why I said about portion control, you're not going to fit that much into it. I do get a lot of people that ask me about, you know, should they be counting macros, should they be counting, you know, weighing their food out. For beginners, I'd just say, put your food in this. If you actually put your food in that and then put it onto a plate, you'll find that you can't fill these up to the top. Well, you can fill them up to the top, but it's still not going to be as much as you would maybe have normally. What tends to happen is when we have our plate in front of us, we'll just fill it. It's not very often that there's space on it. What we can do with this is you put the amount in the box. If you don't want to be eating out of Tupperware all the time, I find it sometimes nicer to eat off a plate. When I actually put it on the plate, I find that there is a lot of space around the plate, so it's helping with that portion control. This is the way forward in regards to portion control. It also means these can go in the freezer, take them out the night before, put them in the fridge with whatever food you've got in them, and then bang them in the microwave for about 2 minutes, and that generally does the trick. I spoke last week about meals that I already have ordered in. Last year, you might have seen the videos where I prep my meals myself. The idea behind this is that not so much seeing the food having been cooked, but to give you some ideas on what you can cook and easy ways around it. So the first thing you're looking at, get some boxes that are the same as well. What you don't want is to have one big box on a Monday and on a Tuesday you have like a small box. It's not regular and you're not going to keep your calories the same. What you could do as well is work out if you put, say, that much pasta in, how much that does weigh. Remember guys, if you've got any questions at all, do just pop them onto the comment box and I'll be able to answer them as we're going along. So what to put food in, pop them in one of these. The next one is protein. So this should form most of, for me, if you're looking at weight loss, this should form a big chunk of what's in these boxes. Now proteins can be anything from your meats, you know, your chicken, you want your leaner ones, so chicken's always a good one, or turkey. Try to stay away from any fatty ones, so like duck is really fatty. Chicken, turkey, or you can also go down the route of your fish. That's also a really good one. Salmon's a great one. For those that are vegetarian, I've tried the corn meat. It's great. Wouldn't notice corn sausages especially. And also bear in mind protein. You've got your beans and lentils in there as well, quite high in protein. bear that in mind. People seem to forget that. So if you're making a chili and you have, your kidney beans in there, there's forming part of your protein. Just checking if anyone has got any questions, do pop them on there. Just need to keep checking them down. With the protein, make sure that it's something that you're going to finish. You're never going to need a lot of it, but we need to make sure that we've got high protein, especially if you're training as well. Make sure that you're going to get that recovery and repair the muscles so you can train longer, more efficiently, and you're going to recover and not end up with any injuries because your muscles are recovering straight after sessions. I tend to think that in a day, 40 to 45% should be protein, depending on what you're looking to do. The next one I'll explain why, because keep it high on this, because everyone panics with this one. Most people, when they are looking at food prepping, will tend to always ask this question, hashtag should I eat them? Oh, carbs bad for you, I shouldn't have carbs. Carbs are not bad for you, you've just got to be careful how much you're eating. So I wouldn't go out and, fill that with pasta and put a tiny bit of meat in it. That's not what I'd do if I was looking for weight loss. But we still need carbs. So you see the bodybuilders, they'll have some chicken and rice in these, chicken, rice and broccoli. Vegetables do have carbohydrates in as well, guys. So don't think, oh, I'm not going to eat any rice, I'm not going to eat any pasta, so I'm not eating any carbs. There's still carbohydrates, albeit a lot lower, but there's still carbohydrates in your broccoli and everything else. So it's fine. Just use healthier alternatives. What I used to do when I prepped at home, when I put pasta in, is I just put a small layer here. So if the box, you couldn't see the bottom, that was my selection of pasta. It ended up being like a big spoonful, like one you'd use when you're cooking. That was all. So one spoonful in the box, that would be it. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot when you actually put it on a plate and you're looking at, oh, actually, it's not that much. But use the healthier options. So whole wheat pasta, it's looking at the brown rice, whole wheat pasta. You'll always see it sort of, wherever you look for the white pasta, it'll be next to it. It sometimes can be a little bit difficult to find, but you're looking for whole wheat, that's what you're looking for. But you can also get healthier alternatives as well. You've got your quinoa, you've got your bulgur wheat, which I quite like, your barley wheat as well. So there is different options there, and people tend to stick with the brown rice and the pasta. And it was only till I went away a couple of years ago that I found out about bulgur wheat, barley wheat, and it's actually really, really nice. You can also layer, if you do want to put a few more carbs in there. Sweet potato is another great option, rather than going down the white potato route as well. Only by a little bit, it can change it up. You can make, if you're going to have potatoes as well, make them into wedges. If you can do sweet potato, make them into wedges, make them into mash. It just changes the dish a little bit. So for now, what we've got, you can have your protein, so your chicken, your turkey or your fish. Carbs, any sort of vegetables that you can fit in there, and then you can have your so much veggies as you can fit in this. Trust me, if you get the frozen veg, great one, it's actually fresher. Frozen veg is actually fresher than if you buy it fresh, because do remember that it was frozen at source, rather than your fresh fruit and veg will have been picked, delivered, so a couple of days in the lorry, and then put to you. The frozen veg is frozen at source. The ones that are great are the ones that are in the separate portion bags. I found one of them would fit 2 boxes. I could fit one of these small microwavable bags, 2 of these. Take them out of the freezer, pop them in the box, great. And then whatever else you've got in that, pop it in the freezer, take it out the night before, really, really easy. So remember, carbs, yes, you should be eating them, it's just your portion size that you need to be careful of. Just don't overload, don't make it where you feel quite bloated afterwards. And somebody's just posted, and do feel free to put this as well, cauliflower rice and butternut squash pasta is really good as well. These ones are coming quite popular. I've seen them in Asda. I haven't tried them myself, but it's a really good alternative as well. So do try them out, just so you don't get bored. Variety is what you need when you're meal prepping, because I know some people that do chicken and rice every day. That's great if they can manage that. But for you general people that just want to lose a bit of weight and do it with a smile on their face, let's look for a bit of variety in there. Okay, and then your fats. Don't be scared about this word because people are, I'm just not going to eat fat. There is healthy fats out there. So with if anyone does put nuts into their diet and they get, they're very fatty, but they have good fats in them as well. Make sure it's only a handful. It's not like, one of these is probably not going to be a good idea if you're snacking on them a day. Handful, you can still use the box, but don't load the box up to here. Not healthy then. But handful, and we're talking, just pump in your box, ready for the day. You've got them as a snack. It's a better option than biscuits or I understand that people are at the office and it's something to pick up, so that's a better option than biscuits. I'm sure you guys already knew that anyway. So the pros of meal prep. So before we go into this, just a couple of ideas for what I used to do with my meal prep. Breakfast was a pain because I found that it was always such a rush. I used to do, those of you that watched last year, sausage and egg wraps used to be mine, so I would cook sausage, cook scrambled egg. Make sure whenever you're meal prepping that you, sorry, I've got a dog down here that wants to get involved. Before you put it in the fridge or the freezer, that it does cool down. Don't put it in the fridge or freezer when it's hot, so let it completely cool down. Breakfast I used to do basically one small sausage, and I used to use vegetarian ones for this as well, with some scrambled egg, and I used to just put it with a wrap in the morning, put it in the microwave. The best thing with a scrambled egg is probably just put it in the fridge, and you probably got about 2 days. I did used to put it in the freezer. I never had any problems with it, but looking into the evidence and stuff like that, you just need to be really careful with eggs. But that was a really, really good starter one for me for breakfast. And it was like a little treat as well. I really look forward to it, a bit of tomato sauce as well. People speak to me about sauces, and for me, if it's the difference between you eating it or not eating it, a little bit of sauce is not going to damage you so much as, if you're not going to eat it at all because of the fact you find it a bit bland. I'd rather you put a little bit of sauce on there. And lunch-wise, I always used to do a chicken and rice one, and I'd add a little bit of sauce. You can get like the marinades as well, so just marinate the chicken in something that you quite like the taste of, and then just put some rice with it. That was the general one that I used to do, and then we do some mince in like a gravy with some sweet potato and some green beans. So a bit like a cottage pie. I replicated that off a meal prep company I used to use, and it used to be a really nice one to do. I used to get the sweet potato mash from Asda. It was already done. It came in a pot like this, and you could just microwave it. So that worked really well. It's quite handy rather than having to get the sweet potatoes and cut them up and mash them up. Also, other meals I used to do, we used to do a chilli. Use baked beans in there if you don't like spicy stuff. We'd change it every week, so we might put some peri-peri sauce in there, or we used to get the Nando's sauces and try them out. So it makes it different, using with brown rice or brown pasta, or sometimes putting it over veg as well, just to give it a bit of a change. So you can have your chilli in there. We also used to do the odd soup. You used to go to Aldi and get the soup bags that you can get where you just blend it up. That was a great one, and they actually did freeze quite well, believe it or not. So it was a nice change, especially for in the winter. Maybe have one piece of brown bread or wholemeal bread with that as well as a bit of a change. We also, I'm just trying to think because it was obviously about a year ago, we'd also make wraps, so easy ones, great for the kids as well. We just make a load of tuna, mayonnaise, tuna sweet corn, and then just put it in the box with a wrap, and that was lunch. And then you could change it up. So tuna mayonnaise, and I did freeze as well for you guys that are worrying about having the time. Tuna mayonnaise in the wrap. Also chicken wraps, so we used to do chicken but in the marinade sauce, whichever we picked for that week, with onions and peppers. Fill it up. You can't fill a wrap up with too much veg, so just, we used to bang in the peppers, onions, sweet corn if you had any left, some chicken, and just used to fold the wrap on top, and then when I came to eat it, then you put it on, otherwise it tends to go soggy. What else did we used to do? And we used to do some random ones as well, so whatever food, turkey meatballs was another one. We did a bit of both, so I used these, I'll show you what books I used. So I did use this one, I will confess, and you can see which sort of pages I licked out. So I was looking at stuff like, I'll show you, like spinach and turkey cannelloni I never got to make. However, what I did make, let's see if I can find it. We did a bit of a spin on the meatballs and pasta. So what we did was we made our own meatballs by getting turkey mince, and then we were cooking a lot with coconut oil, so it's a lot healthy for you, so those healthy fats. And we made our own meatballs, and we also made our own burgers as well in the same way. So obviously getting the turkey mince together, binding it with an egg. And it's also, if you've got kids, it's a great way to get them to do it. I used to love doing it as a kid because obviously they can, get their hands into the mince and they can make them. So you get the kids involved as well. So I used to use that book. And the other book that I used was the Prepped and Packed one. Now, if anyone wants to have a look into this, I'm more than happy to lend it to you. But they are very, very healthy options as well. They came with the Prepped and Packed bag that I got, and I found them really helpful. Same sort of line as the Lean and 15 with the turkey meatballs as well. But I found that it did really, really help me with, there was a few in there like the breakfast burritos and stuff like that give me some ideas. So they were the two that I used. There are so many recipe books out there as well. But always make sure that you look at the portion sizes as well, because obviously you want it to fit this, you don't want it to fill a massive plate. If anyone has any questions, just bang them on there as I'm going along. So they were the sort of meals that we made, so turkey meatballs, and sometimes we used to get the like the dolmio sauces, and this is what I come back to about I'd rather have a sauce if you're not going to eat it. I'd get the turkey meatballs, and to make a spin on like spaghetti bolognese or meatballs and tomato sauce, get the dolmio sauces and use them if we were short on time. Sometimes it is about making it more efficient for you. If you think that we'd maybe have in this box pasta would fill the bottom layer, so there would be maybe to sort of here, so you'd end up with maybe 15-20 pieces of pasta if by the time you filled it up, so 1 spoonful, 6 or 7 meatballs, and then we just put a little bit of just straight out the jar, pasta sauce on top. When you think about it and you think, oh, that's not a lot, but when you actually eat it, because you're getting the pasta in, it will fill you up. And what I was tending to do was have my breakfast in the morning, and I'd have 2 of these, maybe 3, depending on how my day had been and how much time I'd had. And I lost weight doing it, because I was eating regularly and my body wasn't going through any sort of starvation mode. So because I was eating regular, my body, metabolism shot up a little bit, and because I was training as well, the weight came off. We'll go back to this now. I've given you some ideas. Now, if anyone does, I'm more than happy to put some of these recipes onto my page if anybody wants them. This is just a bit of a breakdown for you. So the pros of meal prepping is you're going to get healthy options. You're not going to be able to put a chocolate bar, with your food, because you're going to be, it's already pre-prepped. What will happen is you will find that you'll go out to the supermarket and you'll have your list of all the stuff that you want to buy, and chocolate bars aren't on there because they don't go with anything that you're buying. And what we found is that if the unhealthy food's not in the house, you're not going to walk, or drive to go and get one. It's highly unlikely for the most part anyway. There's probably somebody watching going, yeah, I would. But if it's not in the house, you're less likely to, sort of snack on it. So it leads on to, you get your healthy options because it's already pre-planned. There's no chance of, if you come home from work and it's that whole, oh, I've got no food in, right, or let's just have a takeaway because I can't be bothered cooking. Take it out the night before and then it's 2 minutes in the microwave. It's 2 minutes. You're not having to wait for it, it's already there for you. Less chance of snacking because you're eating regularly, and what you will be snacking on, obviously we said about the nuts before, is going to be healthy snacks. You can also do stuff like raisins, dried cranberries, those sort of things, little picky things that are great for you instead of having chocolate biscuits. You're going to eat enough. You're going to make sure that you're eating enough and you're not eating too much because you're portion controlling it. Moves on to that. It's easy to portion control because you've got your boxes there, so you can remember you can weigh it out at the start if you want to. And it's good for people that work different hours, for shifts. You can take these into work. There's no worry about, I'll just go to the canteen and have, whatever's there, and it could be just chips or whatever. You've got your healthy option. And for those of you that work shifts, you've got no excuse because it's all there for you. These are all the sort of things that I hear of people is, that they struggle because they work shifts and they don't know what food to take in. They work at 12, midnight, 1 o'clock, and the nearest thing open to them is like a McDonald's or a takeaway. You've got your food, it's all prepped, it's all done for you. There are some cons, there is with everything. So the cons are the time to cook. The last video that I did was Friday, and I talked about Prepped and Packed and how it was a ready-made meal prep company because I struggle with this time, okay? I struggle with the time to cook it. But most people will dedicate like a Sunday evening to doing this. Now you can get the kids involved, it doesn't become as much of a chore because they can help you with it. As long as you've got the time to do it, it'll work well. What can happen is that if you miss a week, that can sort of stuff you up a little bit because if you haven't got the food there, that's when it kind of goes out the window. So you need just to make sure that you set that set day that you are prepping it and you stay on top of that day. Repetition. You can find that if you don't change these recipes enough, that you will end up getting bored of the food, getting bored of what you're having, and you're more likely to go, oh, I'll have that tomorrow, and I'm just going to go and get something from the shop. So beware that can happen. So the more decent recipe books you can get, try and get the ones that are for healthy eating, along the fitness side of things, so that you can change what you're eating each time. What we started doing was going through a set menu for like 2 weeks, and then I'd take 2 or 3 of the options out and go through the book and find something else that I could make instead. It's all about variety, that way you're not going to get bored. If it becomes a repetition, you will then eventually think, there's just no point, I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. Nights out are another one. Always make sure, people panic and go, oh, well, what happens if I go on a night out? What happens to my healthy eating? It's not a con, but it is at the same time. Nights out will obviously stuff the process up because you'll go from eating smaller meals to I kid you not, you'll eat 4 or 5 of these a day. It's the same sort of calorie intake, but when you go and eat one big meal, I kid you not, you will not eat as much when you go out. However, you should always, every week, have a cheat meal. That's a meal that you look forward to, you work hard all week, get to a Friday or a Saturday, I tend to like mine on a Saturday, and you go, I'm going to have that this week. So that food that you're really craving, whether it be fast food, KFC, McDonald's or an Indian, or you just fancy going out for a nice meal somewhere with your friends or your family, it's something you've got to look forward to. It doesn't have to be a con of it if you use it right. It will work if you are having, 1 or 2 maybe, for special occasions and stuff. It won't work if you're having like 3-4 meals and then you go out. So you need to adjust accordingly. If your cheat meal's on Saturday, let's say, I would normally have the breakfast and then I'd have like a lunch. So I'd only have 2 tops and then I would wait for that meal that I went out and had. They're the only cons really to it. There's nothing too major with it, and it's a great way of controlling what you're eating, getting a bit of variety and eating healthy. Just make sure that you're getting enough protein in there, you're still getting the carbs in there, but it's all about the healthy options. It's all about the healthy choices and how you are delegating these boxes. Loading it up with carbs and a little protein and a little fat is not going to help you in the long run if you're looking at a big calorie deficit. So, based on that, has anyone got any questions? Feel free to pop them on. I'll stay on for a couple of minutes. If you do have any questions, pop them in the comment box. But yeah, the main things with meal prep is it's not difficult to do. People get really het up on what they can put in. Now, you can put a salad in here as much as anything else as well. The great thing is they're good for portion control. It's a major thing. you can, you know, start weighing food out, and you can, you know, go down that route where you're really counting macros. But for the working mum, you know, of 1 or 2 kids that's got enough to do, it's probably just easy to bang it in a box. And, you know, if after 6-8 weeks you see no change, you know, in your shape, in your weight, that's when it may be, right, okay, am I exercising enough? Am I making healthy choices? If you're doing both and you're still not seeing any results, then it might be that you need to change the makeup of what you're having, and it might be that it's still too much or too little. And that's something that you can message me about, and we can go through it at any point. As there's no questions from you guys, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. If anyone does have any questions that they want to inbox me over at any point, feel free. Next week we're going to be back to workout. So we're going to do an arm workout next week, so an arm attack. Workout that you can do at home, so hopefully you'll be joining me on that. I was aching for a couple of days after the ab attack last week. Hopefully you guys will be joining me, and you know, we can give me your feedback on that and how you were feeling. I had some really good feedback last week, so it'll be 8:30 again next Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.